whenever I'm done. I would
Little
over that way.
Quan.
Yeah, I've been there.
I went there that one time with Suzanne when I first
Yeah,
started.
I haven't been very much more.
Yeah,
Met
that's
Marvell
in there.
here,
Yeah.
but never. Yeah,
Are you getting changed?
yeah.
We're gonna have to sit down and just try to figure out me or.
Yeah, those were good close
Hopefully no
ones.
cats hanging out in front.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you don't want another little Quan kitty.
Yeah, no. Which one's that?
If you get them a Quan kitty, I'll just take them and tell Ryan, I'm just getting another cat. I know you were talking about that last night, because I got the Thursday from our first time, birthday what week.
9 so far.
And so we're talking, he's like, we're gonna get cats. It's like, wow. They have, we determined like we can go around it, you know, it's, but it was really personality.
Yeah.
Really difficult. Like, yeah. We tried to sit all of us. I will be looking at pictures and stuff in the shelter. That was everything.
Laughing so hard.
We will know. The sound on it.
Nice.
All throughout.
Oh, yeah.
I'm almost taken now. Probably by the end of the week. At least one can book. You're pretty real, Brian.
I guess so.
Mine is like sitting there.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. And we're gonna start with introductions, and we can start in the back.
It wouldn't be last week.
Amy Gould, Kiwanee Public.
Abby Miles, Brookfield Public.
Wendy Adams Good, RSA.
Amanda Gray, RSA. Hillary Dillon, Galesburg. Karen Aislinn, Galesburg.
Courtney Young, Avon.
Nick Muskimen, Pekin.
Cassandra Stokes, Peoria Public.
And Martha Troxel, RSA.
And what we have online. Online.
Will they hear me?
Sure do.
We have Anita at Henderson County, Ann at Eureka, Bobby from Quincy,
Good.
Carla from El Paso,
Fine. We're plugging away at the park.
Dawn in Illinois Prairie,
All right.
Elizabeth from Henry, Julia from Normal, Chantry from Blessing, and Teresa from Fond du Lac.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Turn it over to Martha.
We're going to, we didn't have a whole lot of handouts today. I did have a handout that is just information about the meeting. It's going to give you a little, oh, I picked the wrong one. It's going to give you a little bit of information about what we're going to be talking about today. And then, of course, the document is out on the RSA support side. It's under, go back to where it starts here. It's under, one more. If you go under RSA board committees and groups, and then under circulation committee, eventually gets there. Some of the things we're going to talk about today are some of the updates, the enhancements from the update that we just did on workflows. Some of the things there's a few things that are actually usable right now, but there are some things that we haven't got to the point yet that they're ready to use, but we do want to discuss them a little bit. And if any of you had gone to the users group, you're going to hear some of the things that you heard before from the users group. One of the new things that is possible on, since the upgrade, is doing pin hashing. And this is something that we really think that we are going to go ahead and do, that it's something that Kindle is really pushing to do. But what this does is, and I know you're all familiar with this, this is if somebody types in a pin somewhere after it's typed in, then you can no longer see what the pin is. What it's going to do is, when your patrons have a pin in their account, once that pin is typed in, all you're going to see is asterisks in that account from then on. This is a real, we're trying to push patron privacy, so this is what we are really stressing right here is keeping that pin so that it's not visible to just any staff member in any library. So you'll still be able, as a staff member, to go in to modify a user wizard. If somebody calls and says, I don't know what my pin is, what you'll have to do is say, what would you like your pin to be, and then go ahead and then type in the new pin for them. But once you type that new pin in and save it, then you're no longer going to be able to see it again. So, this is a system-wide change, so it's not like a library can opt out of it. It is something that once it's done for all the libraries in RSA, and there will be further discussion about this at the August 2nd users group. So does anybody have any discussion on it right here today? So. Yes. Okay.
Will it let you put in the same pin that you had earlier? So like
From what I understand, yes, it will. Yes.
Okay. It won't say try again.
No, from what I understand, it'll let you, if for some reason they say, I don't remember what my pin is, and you say, what would you like the new one to be, and then you go ahead and type in what was already in there, it should go ahead and save it. So, yeah. Any other questions? That is just something to, like I say, it'll be discussed at the August 2nd users group meeting again, so of course it won't happen until after that, until they have that discussion. So, another new enhancement that we have is the software, and I will tell you, there's very low support for it at the users group, but just to let you know what it is and the fact that it may be revisited at a later date, and that is automatic renewal. And what this would do is it would automatically, when it got close to the due date for the patron's item, when it got to that due date, it would just automatically renew that for them without them having to call you, without them having to go into the online catalog and renew it themselves. So it would block if there was a hold on the item. It would block if it had reached the renewal limit. It would, you would have fewer overdues to deal with because, of course, it's going to automatically renew it for the patron, but you will have less fine income. And this would be something that would be library specific if we at some later date do it. So it would be like one library could do it, but another library wouldn't have to do it if they didn't want to. So. And like I say, that will actually be revisited also in the future. So I don't know, how do you feel as a group here right now about something like that? Would you like it or would you not like it?
I know I've discussed it with our director, Deacon Jeff, and he's all about it.
He likes it, huh?
He does.
Yeah, so.
Go ahead.
Not so much a fan, though, if I could do it on a specific patron type, specifically the homebounds, to let them auto-renew, but I'm concerned to just let everybody do it because then I'll get that donkey that's going to keep that book all summer long. I guess the way around that is to get if somebody else wants it, get a hold onto it because that would stop that renewal from happening again. But I know at least the first take from my board has been a lot of wrinkled posters.
We were a little hesitant about it because we're afraid that someone's going to have 6 DVDs out and 5 are going to renew and they're going to miss that one didn't, and they're going to assume that it did. And then the next thing you know, they're going to have $3 worth of late fees because all the rest of them renewed, why didn't that one?
problem.
And then the issue of if my library does it, but their library, Galesburg, does not, well, I have patrons moving back and forth between the two. Mine would, theirs wouldn't. It seems like that's opening it up for somebody to get screamed at.
Any other thoughts?
I kind of want to echo what was already said about, people keeping stuff and thinking that it will automatically be renewed for them, but something's on hold that doesn't get renewed,
Well, there is a report that will go out if things don't get renewed. They will get, an email sent to them saying, something did not get renewed. So there is kind of an option.
So many that
to do
don't use the email, though.
Yeah. Like I said, it has to be somebody that does look at their email.
That's a problem in my world.
So it comes down to patron responsibility, really, with that.
Right.
My concern was the same as Sarah was if they automatically renew and one item don't, and already arguing the
Just to let you know that it may come back. At this point, there was a lot of negative comments about it at the users group on May 3rd, so I think that this is kind of going to be pushed back for a while anyway, maybe revisited at another time. Another thing that we are starting to investigate, and that is family cards or patron groupings with cards. And at this point, there are a lot of options that you can do with this, but we're going to start kind of slow with this enhancement right here. And we're going to begin with grouping together families for hold pickups. And at this point, Kindle is working with volunteers, so if for some reason your library would like to volunteer to do this, but what this would allow is, you know how it is right now, if, say, a husband comes in to pick up a book for a wife that the wife has put on hold, then you get a pop-up screen and you have to put in the override, and that type of stuff before you can check it out to that person. Well, this would hopefully prevent that if it's, one family member picking up for another family member and they are in the group together, then it would just automatically go ahead and check it out to them. So eventually down the line, this should be able to work for things such as pulling up family fines together so that they can be paid, at once. And that way you can connect a parent who maybe has, lots of lost books and fines and decided they're going to use their child's card, because we all know that's what patrons do. If one card can't be used, then they're going to find somebody else's card in the family that can be used. So hopefully eventually when this is working, full the way that it should, that it can, I guess, it will prevent some of that type of stuff. So like I say, if there are any volunteers that want to work with this, go ahead and let Kendall know so that he can work with you to start getting it set up, and we'll see how it actually works. And I know sometimes, some libraries will, I know from working at Washington, that you might have maybe a parent that is like homebound or something, and maybe, an adult son or daughter comes in to pick up, items for them. So somebody like that could be grouped together too. It wouldn't just have to be people that live at the same address type thing. So, and that also is library specific. So, and another enhancement, and this is one that we've been asked for a long time, is that we are now going to be able to do larger fine block limits. So, we've always had the $5 fine block limit, and there's been lots of libraries that would like to have larger ones, and we are now going to be able to do that. So we are going to keep the $5 block limit, because there's still a lot of libraries that still want to use that $5 block limit. But you will now have the option of having a $10, $15, or $20 block limit. Now, these are actually going to be set up as we work on your on the new Circumamp grouping, And so when James contacts you, about that, then you can go ahead and get this set up. We do want James to come out. Can you go get James and talk a little about this, clerk map grouping so everybody knows what's going on, so. How's this going? Move it over.
With you in the middle.
Yes. Okay, I am James Campbell. I work with the system. Let me plug my flash drive in. I wanted to talk a little bit about the new circ map, the way it works on our new version of workflow. So in the past, we've had a lot of libraries ask about, hey, we want to limit 5 DVDs. Doesn't matter what type of item type it is. We've never been able to do that. So because everybody knows that patrons know how to manipulate it, and you have DVD, new DVD, DVD-R, for instance, they could get 5 of each of those. Now, with the new version, we can limit them to 5, doesn't matter what kind of item type it is. You tell us what item types you want, and we can limit them now. So, and I'll show an example of Peoria Library. So this is their circ map right now. You can see that there are 271 lines in the circ map because of different profiles, different item types, all different, different types of CDs, different types of Blu-rays, DVDs, all those kind of things. So they are, I don't want to say our guinea pig, but they're the biggest library, so it's going to work from biggest down. So I worked on theirs. Like I said, this is what their new circ map looks like. There is a total of 23 lines now, almost from 300 to 23. And you can see where, for instance, there used to be a reference newspaper, reference book, new periodical, map, software. Those were all each individual lines that said non-circ. Now there's only one line with all those on there that says non-circ. Same with Blu-ray. Now this currently is only the item types that they're using, which is Blu-ray, DVD, DVD new, DVD-S, and new Blu-ray. I will, once this is actually in the circ map, I will add all the other types of DVD and Blu-ray in there, because if Peoria is not using them, they could get them from one of your libraries. They might use DVD-R. Well, Peoria doesn't have a rule for DVD-R because they don't use it. Now it will actually circulate just like the rest of the DVDs that Peoria uses. So at a minimum, we go off of what your library uses, and then we add in the other ones that other libraries could use. But our main concern first is your item types. That way those are in there. So, and you can see that for the library, there was a line for each of their libraries. So now there's one line that has the Maine, Lakeview, Lincoln, McClure, Bookmobile, all those kind of things. So this is just show you an example that, I mean, this is huge for them. Their patrons knew how to manipulate the system and get a lot of different item types, because the system didn't prevent it. Now it will prevent that. So like I said, we are moving from the biggest libraries down. So normal will be next. Then I'm not sure if it's probably Quincy but anyway, so you guys will all be hit up pretty soon. So what I do ask is start thinking of what you need. If you have to ask for board approval, for instance, like, hey, we have a chance to, no matter what the item type of Blu-rays, do you want it to only be 5 or 10, whatever you choose. It's also, I'm not sure if you guys talked about the different user profiles now. There's the fine limit of the $5, $10. If you guys are wanting to do that, so if you just use regular adult, we will go ahead and add the other, if you limit something by adult, we can add the other adult profiles in there. So if another patron comes that's not from your library and they have a different profile, it will still circ like you guys normally do. Peoria's, we didn't do that because you can see it says all. So it doesn't matter what their item, what the profile is for them. But some of you that restrict juvenile from something, then we will put in the other item types of juvenile, or the other profiles of juvenile. So again, just start thinking of what you might want to do, so when it does come for your time, you're already prepared and we don't have to wait. You know, some of you might like, oh, I have to find out from my board. Well, it was your time, now we got to wait another week, or whenever your board meets, for instance. So just start preparing yourselves to get an idea of what you guys might want. So are there any questions?
I do. Now, how soon is this going to start working for Peoria?
This will, okay, so how it will work, not that you guys need to know this part, these are going to be entered in here, okay, into the circ map just like it is. Their current circ map will still be in there, but it will never read it, because the circulation map reads bottom up, so all these new ones are going to be on the bottom. So it's never going to read what they currently have in there. But after a day or two, if they found a problem or something like that, we don't have to recreate things. I could just go ahead and remove these. So for a day or two, you know, if you did look, which you're not going to see them in the circ map because those get updated monthly. So in the middle of the month, if I put in the new rules and your old ones are still in there, and after a couple days everything's fine, I'm going to remove all your old lines. And on the first of the month, when it gets updated, you will see it. So that's just the best. Me and Kendall talk. That's the best way to do it, because let's just say this is all new to us too. So let's just say I put all this in there and something goes completely wrong. I remove them all and it's back to exactly how it was. But after a couple days, we would know that, so then I would just go ahead and remove them then. So it's just a little fallback for us is all. So, and it works across libraries too. So if you have more than one branch, if you want to say, hey, there's 5 restrictions, doesn't matter what branch they go to, it will restrict that. If you don't want it restricted, so be it. You could just tell us. And it's not going to restrict them to, you know, different types of Blu-ray. There'll still be one line in there, but if you don't want it to say, hey, they could get as many as they want of these, that's fine. But if you want to restrict it, we can. Yeah.
I'll have to use the exact same rule though, right? Just to make sure I'm understanding, so the exact same rule.
The same circ rule for group, yes.
Okay.
Now,
you can't have like DVDs check out for 1 week, Blu-rays check out for 3 days. You can't combine.
right.
Okay.
Right. So yes, absolutely. That's a great question. So, and just because I say we're going to throw in all types of DVDs, some of you might use DVD-S or DVD-L for a series. Maybe you allow a 3-day checkout, but the DVD-S is a series. Well, who could really watch, I mean, I can, but who could watch Game of Thrones in 3 days? Right. But a lot of you might have a 14-day checkout for that. And that's okay. If it's the exact same fine structure and all those things, we could still make that happen. It just won't be grouped to that. But anything that you want grouped that's going to circulate the same and you want to have a limit, we could do that. If you do not want to have a limit and you want them to circulate the same, we could still do that. It's just for us, it's shortening up a lot of things. So when one of you calls, I mean, right now our circ map is over 3,000 lines. So when one of you call, I mean, I'm scrolling down, looking at it and doing all this. You know, one of your libraries might call and say, hey, we want to restrict DVD-R to be for juvenile only. Okay, or yeah, not juvenile, yeah, but juvenile cannot check it out. Okay, and only this. So now I have to create a line for other, you know, a bunch of different things. You know, for say the staff profile, the reciprocal profile, all these adult profile, all these different things. Now we don't have to do that because we can group things by library, by user profile, or by item type. It helps out us on this end. For you, you're just going to start getting things like you want if you want limits. Any questions online or anything? So like I said, it's going to be working from our biggest libraries down. So eventually you guys I mean, it does take a little while. Once we get this thing working with Peoria, things are going to be moving a little smoother. you know, that we know, okay, this is exactly how it works. I know the best way to sort of present them to you to say, hey, right now, this is how it would be. Is this how you want it? So, like I said, the best thing for you guys to do is just find out for sure what you guys want to do. And if you need permission, get permission from your board, and then we could be ready and move forward. So, that is it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. I hope people are excited about that. That's something we've been wanting for a long time.
I'm excited, but I'm gonna have a lot of angry people. Because they do check out at Maine, and they'll go over to one of our other branches, check out more, so.
They'll just show you how, now they'll figure out the way around the
They'll
system.
try, yeah.
You feel like it's gonna hurt your circulation though a lot? Your circulation count?
I don't think,
You don't think so? You don't think there's that many of them that do?
well, there's a few, we know the ones that are.
I think every library knows the ones that do. They can always figure out how to work the system, can't they? If you are used to looking at the if you've ever looked at the circ map out on the RSA website, part of this grouping thing that is being done is we now have what we call an expanded circulation map. So it is, once again, just right out on the website, but I have a link here, so we can hopefully see if it'll let us open it up. Where before, there was not this many columns on it, but what we had before is we had circulation map and the circulation rules. Well, what this expanded view has done is it's like combined the circulation rules and the circulation map information together. So, you know, you can go out and look up your library, and it gives you the information, and it goes on even to include like the loan period and the fines and all that kind of stuff, where you could not see that on the circulation map before. So this is out on the RSA website. It's out under, I'll show you where it is. Let's just throw it there. Anytime that you want to see it, it is out here. It's under System Information and Support. Except our website is really slow right now. Go under System Parameters. Today. And the very first thing here is the circ map. So if you click on it, you're going to see it's exactly what I showed you. So it's extended, so it goes, you know, a ways over here. So you have a lot more information on one screen than you previously did. So you go in here. This, in case you don't know, this is the circulation map for all the libraries in RSA. So if you wanted to look your library information up, you would have to alphabetically look. If you see here the library name, you could go here and look your library information up that way. So. Okay. Another new thing, and this doesn't really have anything to do with the upgrade, but one of the new things that there's several new things that Kim is kind of testing right now, and another thing is online circulation module, and some of your libraries might be interested in this. This is eventually going to be Cersei Dynex's Blue Cloud circulation option that they have, where you can actually use a browser to do your circulation instead of logging onto like the workflows client like we do right now. We do have access to it right now, but it is not fully functional. The function is very limited on it. what you can do is you can register patrons. At this point, you can edit patrons. They just now put receipts in. The billing part is not completely done, but why we're making this available to any libraries that might want to use it at this point is, especially this time of the year when you're getting ready to maybe have a booth or something at a local festival or something, this gives you an option of just logging onto a browser and being able to like register patrons and things such as, like I say, like, you know, if you have a local festival or maybe you go to a school or something like that, you know, to register patrons. So it is something that Cersei Dynex is, I was just at the conference in April, and this circulation, this Blue Cloud circulation is something that they are really starting to work heavily on. So hopefully it's going to move along a little bit faster than it has because they've been working on it for quite a while. So it also does limited check-in and check-out. So if anybody's interested in this for anything, such as, like I say, such as, you know, maybe taking it someplace, you do have to have an individual login for this. So this isn't something like, you know, you can just have a general login. It does have to be an individual login because we want to be able, in case somebody leaves the library, to be able to get rid of their login because we don't want them to be able to, you know, as long as you got a modern browser and you've got the internet, you're going to be able to log on. So we do want to be able to cancel those logins if somebody leaves the library, so they won't be able to get in to the software anymore. So if anybody's interested in that, thinks they might have a use for that, let Kendall know, and he can set you up, and we'll just have some libraries hopefully volunteer to test it, so, and see how it goes. I did want to talk a little bit about last time we had a meeting. We talked about we were changing how holds work. So we were changing them so that if when a hold is placed on an item, Workflows was going to look at the item that had not had activity in the longest time, so that we were trying to pick up things that, you know, were sitting on the shelves, weren't being used, instead of picking up the things that were going out all the time. So we had changed that to do that, and then found out that we ran into a problem, because what happened was, if there was a book and it's sitting on somebody's shelf and it hasn't gone out for a long time, you know, and Workflows grabs it for a hold, what happens is, if for some reason the library never takes care of it, I mean, it keeps showing up on their pick list, but they never do anything with it, or they can't find it and they didn't mark it missing or anything like that, it will never move off that item. So even though there are other items available, it will never move off that item, and it will just sit on that item. So we changed everything back to the way it was previous to when we did this. So now it's going to look for newer items that have gone out, but at least it will move off items instead of setting in an item and somebody's hold never getting filled, because it's just sitting there doing nothing. So, have any questions about that? It really sounded like a neat idea because we felt like, you know, like I said, things that were just sitting on the shelf and not being used would maybe get checked out, but it didn't work quite the way we would have liked for it to work. So, another thing I wanted to talk about a little bit, and that is replacements. When your patron loses an item, and it's not your item, but it's an item from another library, what we do not want is, and I've had libraries call me about this recently, is we do not want you sending a replacement copy to the owning library without contacting that owning library first and seeing if they will indeed accept a replacement copy. Not all libraries want replacement copies when things are lost, and we've lately had some libraries that are actually sending a replacement copy, and you know, that library says, well, you know, I didn't really want this, but now I got it. So one of the things that I do want to say about this is, and this kind of goes into the next thing on here, is The Circulation Policy Subcommittee is working on reviewing and revising our circulation policies. It's been a few years since we actually documented them, and we've had, questions that have come up in that time period. Things have changed, and this is one of the things that I think we need to include when we are working on some of the policies, so that we have a definite policy in one of them, something stating something about not sending replacements without contacting the item-owning library first. So, the Circulation Policy Subcommittee is starting to meet more frequently, because we do want to get these done. The thing about working on these policies is the subcommittee has to revise them, and then after they revise them, they need to come to this group, and then after they come to this group, they need to go to the users group. So it's just not a short process. It's kind of a long process. So our next meeting will be the 7th of June. And I do want, if there's anything that you are running into and you think, I really don't see that we have a policy on this, that you really feel like we need to have a policy, please let the group know. And I will tell you who the group members are. Cassandra is on it from Peoria, Nick from Fond du Lac's on it, Sarah from Galesburg is on it, Greg from Creve Coeur, who's not here, is on it, and Roxy from Morton is on it. So please feel free to reach out to them and say, hey, can we have a better explanation of this, or can we have something written about this, if there's something that just keeps coming up that you feel like we need to have a policy for. The idea of these policies is that we're all doing everything the same way, so it isn't confusing for people, and also so that when there are new libraries, new librarians, we can say, this is the way that we do it here as RSA members, and this is the way that we would like for you to do it. So, anything about the circulation policy, or anything anybody can think of right off the top of their head that maybe they would like for the subcommittee to address? No? Okay. Anything online? No? Okay. Okay. Something that I just kind of wanted to go over and make sure everybody knows is part of workflows is the drop-down menus in the display user wizard. And we're going to look at those a little bit today. And, you hear me know that they're here and use them all the time, but not everybody seems to know that these are actually here. So you're going to look me up. Down at, except for this. Unfortunately, the screen here doesn't show things real well, but your resolution is going to be better than this, hopefully, on your computer. But in particular, what I wanted to show you is the drop-down menus that are part of the Bills tab and the Holds tab. So just a little look at those today. So as you see, I have some bills here on my Bills tab. But if you get down to the bottom of this, there are some options down here at the very bottom where we have some drop-down menus. And one of the things that you can do here is you can actually see bills that your patrons have paid in the past. And sometimes this comes in handy when you have a patron that may come in and say, they come up to the desk and they may say to you, you have a $2 fine, and they say, well, I just paid $2 last week. Well, this is one of the places where you can go in and look, and it may be that they paid $2 last week, but now they have a fine since last week. So this gives you the title, it gives you the item ID, it gives you the amount that they paid. Anytime, and I know we've talked about this before, but anytime you see a line underneath anything like this, this is called a glossary. You can click on this and see more information. So it's actually gonna tell you the exact date this was paid, how much it was paid, what was done, this was actually forgiven. So you have all this information right here, in case you are dealing with a patron that may be, questioning something that is on, their account. Also, as you can see, some of these are older on my account and they don't have, they kind of stop right here where the date is, but with an update we had, I don't know how long ago the update was. One of the updates we had with workflows, it now actually shows you where the fine was paid. So if for some reason there's kind of a question about that too, you can see where the fine was paid. Canceled. Cancel could be that it was lost and then the person returned it, so then that fine is canceled on there, so. And the holds has something similar on it too. You go down to the very bottom of the holds tab here. You do have a type of hold, and one of those is an inactive hold. So if you look at what's listed as an inactive hold, you can see sometimes somebody will maybe call and say, you know, why is this item no longer on hold? Well, you can see maybe it's been canceled. Here you can see which ones have been filled. You know, you can maybe say, you know, well, it was filled, so it, you know, it came, but maybe it was canceled. And sometimes the canceled is even the patron has gone out when the RSA cast herself and has canceled the hold for some reason, so it's going to show up as canceled right here. So again, you've got information that you can look at right here, like when the hold was placed, if it expired, when it expired, a little more information about the actual item. Have any questions about that? Did everybody know those were there that's here? Yeah, pretty much, okay. That's what I never know. I never know who knows and who doesn't know, and then usually I think, okay, I've just told everybody that already knows those are there, what those are, so. Okay, I think you're next, Wendy. And Wendy's trying to talk about book club holds, which I think she talked about the last time. Or Amanda did, didn't she? Yeah. But this is different.
So just some information about the blanket holds, the book club holds. This has been an issue for a while, and we've been kind of slowly contacted by different libraries about this issue. And it's one of those things that it's a bug in the system that doesn't always happen or only happens under certain circumstances, so not everyone's seeing it. I'm going to actually look up a patron here. Do you recognize that, Nick? Okay, so this is a book club that Fond du Lac does. And so if I take a look at their holds, they currently don't have any, but if I use that drop down that Martha just showed and look at their inactive holds, they actually had one. If you see these here that say the BL underscore, actually says no need, if it goes all the way across, that is that bug happening oftentimes. I thought they had a good one in November. Okay, yeah, November of 2016, it looks like. This particular one, the hold was done correctly. You can see there's only been one that was filled, and all these other ones have this reason of the BL underscore no need, which basically that reason means it was not required for the blanket hold. But it was. So what happened with this, again, is it's a bug in the system that CRC is aware of, and we're not sure how soon they're going to work on fixing it, or if they're going to be able to fix it.
They've known about it for years.
Yes, they've known about it for quite some time.
Not just recently, it's years.
And basically, I wrote down the exact explanation from the rep that I had dealt with on one of one of the times we had the issue. That basically they're saying it only happens when, again, very, very particular circumstances. That's why you don't always see it happening. Once the number of holds, which are either checked out, available, so that means the item came and is sitting in an available status, or transiting, has reached the number that you need. So say you needed 15, and so 15 items between those three types, they're either checked out to the book club, checked out to that patron, or an available hold, or transiting. If that has totaled up to that number that you originally needed on the hold, at that point, if any of the available holds, so if you have those ones that are available, if any one of those is checked out to that patron, all the items that are currently transiting get canceled with that no need. So again, that's why it only happens under particular circumstances, is that if you would have some that are still transiting, one that's available on the hold, and then it actually gets checked out, that is when those that are transiting are suddenly dropped with that inactive reason of no need. So I say, again, in this example for Fond du Lac, they had gotten one copy, had checked it out to the book club patron, so all these others that were still in transit were immediately inactivated for that, with that no need. So the item still then arrived physically to Fond du Lac, and when they scanned it, it said send it back to the home library. And Fond du Lac wasn't sure why, because they hadn't canceled the hold. So that's what it's doing. Again, unfortunately, CRC has known about it for a while and hasn't either come up with a reason or an answer as to how to fix it. So their answer to the issue is to not use the blanket hold. That's pretty much what they're telling us to do. So if you want to change the way they're doing things, you can. We're not telling everyone that they have to change the way they're doing things, because again, it doesn't happen all the time. If you wish to just do straight up holds, you can do that. So you can place the hold for the patron rather than a blanket hold, just a regular place a hold. Do a title level hold. Place a hold. If you leave it as a title hold and place the hold, and then place another hold for this same user, and then you are going to get that override pop-up box every time. So you'll be able to do the first one, but then again, if I need 15 copies, I'm going to have to override this 14 times and to do that hold, which is just the regular RSA override.
If you do it as a copy level hold, will that get rid of that box?
Well then, yeah, because I kind of played with that yesterday, because I was wondering why they were recommending the title, and it seemed like, if you do a copy, that way you don't get that box. But the only issue with that would be is if you did like your 15 holds, and if 2 or 3 of them went to the shelf to get them and they were actually missing or something, or they didn't want to send it, you wouldn't get your 15. Because unlike with the blanket hold, you usually choose extra copies. This would, unless you did extra holds, and then you potentially, could get, if you did 18 and you only needed 15, you're potentially going to get the 18 and send the other 3 back. But with the title, at least it would roll. And if someone, marked it as missing or something like that, it at least would roll onto another copy. So yeah, there's pluses and minuses to doing it either way. Whether you do a copy level hold, a title level hold, or go ahead and keep doing the blankets. But just to know that if you do the blanket hold, if you have that particular circumstance where some are still transiting and you check out one of the available copies, that bug will probably cause those transit copies to come to you and be told to send them right back, because the ones that are still in transit are going to be tagged as inactive.
Another option would be just not check any of them out to anybody until you got all the copies that you needed too.
And I guess I would like to maybe even have somebody try that and see if that it doesn't actually cancel the other ones. Because again, we're being told it's only under these particular circumstances that if you have one that's available, it is checked out, and others are still transiting, that's the only time it happens. still would be interesting to see, you know, if we have any that go inactive, even if one isn't checked out. But, you know, I'm assuming that they're right, and that's the way it's happening, because of the fact that we can have one that, you know, we can have 20 that work totally fine, and then you have one that suddenly doesn't, and it appears to be. It's only if that circumstance where some of them are already checked out. When you get one that's checked out, you have one that's available, it's checked, then gets checked out, while other ones are still transiting.
So you say you use this, Courtney?
I use the blankets. I only need 8 for my club, and I, you know, place the order. I usually get them all together.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'll place the order usually on a Monday, and it'll come with my Friday transit. And then one member of the book club comes and picks up the whole set at one time, so
Okay, yeah.
in one shot.
Yeah.
So this has never happened to me.
Yeah, because like, when I had actually sent a ticket into CRC, it was that, you know, again, 15, 20 copies that were placed on hold, and then like the next day, either that library's actual copy came back, or they actually went and pulled it off the shelf and checked it out to that book club, and immediately all the other ones went inactive that were transiting.
So trapping them isn't going to be a problem. It's just the actual activity of checking it out to the book club.
That's what I'm being told by CRC, is that if you have one that's available and it gets checked out, anything that's still transiting gets dropped. So, yeah, leaving them as an available hold. But I think a lot of times then they'll check them out to the book club, because a lot of times then you're getting to the point where your hold is going to get cleaned if they've sat too long. So I think that's kind of trying to find that balance. So.
Has everybody seen this, or does everybody here use that book club hold?
Just for the one.
Do you use it again?
I use it.
You use it
I would assume so, because my department's not the one that places those holds, but we've seen them where they come in and they've been.
Some go back, yeah.
Or do you see that happening too? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well.
And they experienced that Kiwani too.
Okay.
That was in the chat.
So yeah, again, you know, we're not telling anybody to stop using the blanket hold for your book clubs, because typically I think it works fine. Although CRC's point is that it was never intended to be used in that way. That wizard, the research wizard, so I guess that's maybe one of the reasons why they have kind of dragged their feet and haven't done anything about the bug. But it makes sense to use it for that, rather than having to do an
off
override.
and on over the years. This is the first time I've really seen
A good answer.
a good answer to what's going on.
Yeah,
so.
sometimes it takes a while to get a good answer after they've seen it for.
Or you get the right person.
Yes, yeah. So.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, wanted to give you an update on some of the libraries and what's going on. Some of our newer libraries are upgrading libraries. We do at this point have Neponset and Prairie Creek that are actually entering patrons into the database to get ready to start circulating. Valley and Bushnell are circulating, so if any of you are close to those libraries, you have any of their patrons coming into your libraries, make sure that you're sending them back to that library to get their new library cards or their new item ID. And then we have Flanagan and Ransom and Williamsfield that have just, all three of them have just really started cataloging, so it will be a while before they are actually to the park, or they are entering patrons and they are circulating. Those are the ones that are doing something right now, so. Now we're going to talk about RSA CAT a little bit. And one of the things that I did want to show you at RSA CAT is that we now have We now have in my account, where your patrons can go in and actually edit information on their account. We did not have that, previously. Let me in here again. The right one. It's not the right one. So if your patrons actually go into their accounts now, there is going to be limited information that they can edit. So as you see right here, we've got an edit button right here, and there's one down here, right here too. But the things that they are going to be able to edit, if you click on the edit button, is they're going to be able to edit their email account, and they're going to be able to edit their phone number. We are not giving them access to edit their address. A lot of it is because, and Peoria is one good example of this, is you can live in Peoria, but you can still be outside the library district, and so you need to pay to have a card. So just because you still have, like I say, the Peoria address doesn't mean that you actually get free access to the library. So just like I say, this is active right now, so any time that your patrons want to make a change, they can go in and change that information. And then there's just a save button up here to save it. So if they, for some reason, goof something up, I kind of was playing with this the other day, and then I go to try to save this. Ah. Well, I didn't do what I did the other day. The other day it came back and told me there was an error. Kendall, why did that quit doing that? It came back and told me that this was not the right format, but today it did. I will talk to him about that. He came back and it said this should be in this format. Yes.
And question, do I remember hearing, like, if they don't already have an email, they can't add one, right? It has to be
Right.
their
They have to already have an email on there. They can't add one. Message. Okay. I'm going to try this again. That's what it popped up with. This is the problem with the telephone number. Please enter the number again using the following format, which I showed Roxy when she was here the other day. And the very first thing Roxy said is we don't put parentheses around our area codes, which is what this shows right here. And she's right. So I did talk to Kendall about that, and he's going to see what he can do about changing that so there's no parentheses around there. Because, you know, if you look at our policies, it does not tell you to do that. So that is against our policy. So. Okay. The other thing that Kendall did let us know yesterday, I think it was, that patrons are now able to come in here and reset their PIN. When you try to log in and you don't have your PIN, and it gives you like a forgot your PIN or something message, it was not allowing you to reset that before. Now it will allow patrons to reset that if they've forgotten their PIN. So that has been changed now. In working with the RSA CAT enhancements, another thing that is being worked on right now for your patrons that like to look up the website on their cell phones is what is called responsive design is being worked on right now, so that if your patron does look up the RSA CAT on their cell phone, it's going to display better so they can actually be able to see it and read it and everything. And Kindle's got it. He's been playing with it. He showed me one on his phone the other day. It does have all the functions of RSA Cat. I mean, he even does the book carousel, the new book carousel, scrolls across it, and they can place holds and that type of stuff. But there's going to be have some work be done. So all those themes that Kindle did, you know, where everybody went in and told them they wanted the different swirls with the different colors and everything, well, those are going to have to go away. So some of the stuff's going to have to be redone to make it display correctly on the telephones. So it has to be what is called a flatter option, so that there's, like I say, no swoops or anything like that. So, and then if you are actually a full online library, you're also going to be able to match it to your library webpage and actually create rooms of information on it for your patrons too. So this is going to be rolled out to libraries in this fall or winter of 2018. So just kind of keep an eye on that. And then another new thing we have. Get back to. Excuse me. Let me log out here. And this is something that, once again, that everybody can look at right now. Back to my page here because that's where my link is. Kindle has set up a RSA Cat demo page. And what this is new things that he's trying out is out here, and you as a library can go out and play around with it and see what's coming up or what maybe has just been made available for so what it says is try out some new stuff. So says this is a place where we test out various RSA enhancements prior to rolling them out. So you can be able to go out here and look at different things. It does tell you after everything, such as this, it says this is system-wide. And then, you see this one right here. Like this one says, this is the patron self-editing, which I just showed you. It says it's available now for all full and online libraries. So there are several things out here that do say they're available now for full and online libraries. So this is something, like I say, that we're just allowing you to go out and look at and play and see what's coming up, and let you know when they are actually available for libraries. You're going to start popping and seeing them pop up on the screen. One of the things here, like this one here, which is Ferber Search Results Display, this is something where it is going to, if it works the way we would like it for it to work, it would be like you go out and you search Harry Potter, and it would put one link. You would have all the in one entry. You would have all the hardbacks, the DVDs, the books on CD and all that stuff just in one display. So right now it's not working as wonderfully as we would like for it to. Erica and I were looking at it, was it yesterday, Erica, that we were looking at, or the day before, and it does need to get better, but I think this is what this is for. You know, you're going to see things as it's being kind of developed and going along. So, like I say, anybody that wants to go out and look and play can go out and look and play. So. Okay. And also, one of the things that we're going to begin doing, and it's going to begin sometime this month, is we are going to start sending out clean up projects to the different libraries. These are going to be sent out to your Gmail accounts. Some of the first things that I think we're doing are like bad patron IDs, and for the cataloggers at your library, change me call numbers. But what we're wanting libraries to do, and we're going to start doing this on a regular basis, sending things like this out, is for you to help get things cleaned up that's in the database. So, you know, anytime we go out and look at, maybe run a list of patrons and things, we always end up finding things such as maybe there's patron IDs that are too short, some that are too long. Sometimes they're actually item IDs and they start with an A and they're, 12 digits long instead of starting with a D. And sometimes somebody will have, for some reason, put patron's name in where the user ID should be. So what we're just wanting is things like that cleaned up. So this is the start. So just expect to see these sometime this month. These will be going out. So any questions about any of this? The demo, anything going out? I just wanted to give you a little update that RSA staff and this year the president of the RSA board of directors went to the annual CERSI conference, which is called COSUBI. It was April 16th through the 18th. It was in Atlanta this year. It was kind of nice to get to a little bit warmer weather at that time. But I did enjoy that part of it. Some of the things while I was there that I did see, some of the coming enhancements for Symphony, some of the new things that are going to be coming up in upgrades, in the next few upgrades. One of them that I wanted to mention, that I don't know how many of your libraries would be interested in this, but I have had libraries ask for this off and on, is when a fine goes on an item, they would like for the fine to stop when it becomes the price of the item, instead of saying, like you're gonna stop it at a $5 limit or something, because there's some libraries that want to go to the full price of the item, and this is going to be one of the things that's going to be on a future update coming up. So, saw some things on some of the different what CERSI Dynamics calls their Blue Cloud, and Blue Cloud is their products that are going to be available through the internet instead of having a client on your computer. And at this time, like I said before, they're working on Blue Cloud circulation, starting to really work hard on that right now. At this point, there's no access to properties in it. You can check out and check in. Just recently, they've done the receipt printing on there, and that's what they're emphasizing right now on their on their Blue Cloud development. So. I did attend a couple of sessions that were done by CERSI Dynamics users, one on family cards, which was kind of timely since we're going to start doing that here. So I did the session I went to. Unfortunately, CERSI Dynamics has two products. It has Symphony, and it has another product called Horizon, and there were 4 people that presented, and 3 of them were Horizon people. So there was only one person that presented that was using the Symphony product. So it would have been a little bit nicer to have heard another person doing the Symphony, but it was kind of interesting to hear what they had to say. And then I also went to a session done by a CERSI user on using MobileCirc for event tracking. So and that was kind of interesting too. So. RSA upcoming events, we do have some BC Analytics training coming, so if anybody is interested in training for BC Analytics, one is coming up the end of this month at Flanagan, and then we have one coming up here in East Peoria. So if you're interested in that, go out to L2 and sign up for those. We did want to make sure everybody knows that school delivery is going to be ending the 29th of May. So I don't know if any of you still have items that are out at schools that are coming back, but if for some reason they don't get back on the 29th, your items will be held until school starts again in the fall. So, and if you have anything that's going back to schools that they may not get back until after the 29th, just go ahead and put them in delivery. All that stuff gets held out in the delivery hub. So in August, we always do a back-to-school workshop, and that's one of the things that some of the attendees like to do, is go out and get their items that are sitting out in the hub before they actually go back to school. So that's one thing Russ does. He keeps them all right out there handy. So And, I just listed some different things that are coming up for rails. And, that's actually all I have today. What did I miss? Oh, I missed the very important first thing, didn't I?
I thought maybe you were saving it for the end.
Yeah, I wasn't saving it for the end, but we'll do it right now. Annually, we are supposed to, elect a new chairperson for this committee. And, Cassandra has been gracious and been the chairperson for, gosh, I don't know how long, a long time, a long time. So, what we need to do today is, first of all, see if there's anybody else that would like to, be chair. I can tell you, if you are the chairperson, one of the things that you do have to do, of course, is meeting. We do expect the chairperson to attend the RSA users group because we do have a time period there where if anybody has any questions, we do submit like notes from our meetings. And if somebody has any questions about that, then they have to be there to try to help answer that type of stuff. They are also part of the circulation subcommittee. And one of the things that the circulation subcommittee does do, although they did not do this time because I wasn't at the last circulation subcommittee meeting, but they also help plan the agenda for the circulation, like this circulation meeting here too. So, is there anybody that would like to volunteer to be the chair? I will tell you that Cassandra's good. You're being looked at, Nick. Cassandra did say that she would continue if nobody else wanted to volunteer, or we could have an election. So
I'll be your co-chair if you don't want. I can co-chair. I'm usually at all the meetings. I see a.
I saw a hand back there, Nick. What does that mean?
Sure.
Back there.
You will co-chair?
Sure.
Okay, Nick is going to co-chair with
You're gonna co-chair or chair?
You're going to chair or co-chair, Nick? Co-chair?
Right now.
I'm gonna have to look at it, see how long I've been in the chair.
I don't even know how long you've been the chair. You've been the chair for a really long time.
At least 10 years.
You're doing a fabulous job, doesn't it?
I mean, she's doing an excellent job, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, fix what ain't broke.
Does anybody have anything that they want to discuss? Like to do with circulation.
Oh, I just wanted to ask, Marcia, I know this isn't my meeting per se, but do we know, because several of you in the room, at least a couple of you, have individually named cataloger accounts. If they use the Blue Cloud Surf, like Abby, for example, at Cornfield, could she, or Nick too, could they use just that cataloger account?
I don't
Not
know.
that exact account, but like it could be associated with a Blue Cloud account, or do they have to have a separate Blue Cloud Surf account? Do you see what I'm getting at?
Yeah, I don't know. I think that,
Users that we should be able to use our cataloging account.
Okay.
I think it would be something that on those cataloger accounts would have to then be allowed. I mean, like, in their configuration, they would be allowed to use that particular, because eventually there'll be the cataloging one online too, and so it would be a choice on that cataloger login, I think, in their configuration.
Because right now you can use your cataloger account and workflows to do both, so I'm not opposed to it, but I'm just wondering.
how many of you in here have cataloging accounts?
To me, that would be the ideal group to test it if you wanted to, because you already have the account.
But even if you don't have an account, I mean, one could be set up for
No,
you,
I know,
so.
but I'm just thinking, because they've already got them, to me, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, in case people didn't hear what was being said, Erica asked if, somebody already had a cataloging account, could they be used with the Blue Cloud circulation that we were talking about, the online kind of like registration. What was said in here is that at the RSA users group, it was said that yes, they can be used if you already have one, so. And, Wendy said she thought it would just be something that would need to be changed in your, permissions
Yeah.
to allow you to do that, so.
And whether or not he would require a change in your password. Because originally a couple of years ago, when we were at Kasugi and talking about this, we discussed the need for, like, the Blue Cloud Analytics, if anyone has a login for Blue Cloud, yeah, the very long, complicated logged in passwords, because we don't want, you using your dog's name that's easy to figure out. Because again, if someone online can figure out your password, then they can get in.
But the catalogers aren't like that, though. They're not these long, confusing things, so.
I was hoping you could have the cataloger account in workflows, but then like you said, when there be like a magic switch, so to speak, that would allow access to Blue Cloud Search and eventually cataloging. But yes, I agree. I think you're going to need completely different passwords and usernames.
But I think if it's tied to the,
It has to be tied.
if it's tied to that login, that login would have to have a secure password all the time, whether they're using the desktop version of workflows or.
I
don't think you would have to. Yeah.
If you could hear us, could you come here? I don't know if he's online. Not, is he coming?
Yes,
His light is.
but eventually, if there's no desktop version, they'll be doing it
His
anyway.
head hurts. Do you want me to?
Yeah, go get him. See if he'll talk to us in that. If his head hurts too much, I mean. I did put on the, on our page.
He's fiddling and will come out.
Okay, I did put as part of the, documents here on our page, a document that Kindle had created for the RSA users group, because it has so much good information in it, so I thought, why, redo something that's already done. So it does talk a little bit about, the pins, about the renewals, patron grouping, the new user profiles, and then some of the new enhancements and some of the things that Kindle showed that we're not quite sure if they're even possibly going to work well with us. But one of the things that I think, if it does, people would kind of be interested in is the fact that maybe, if it works, we may have a kids, where you can do a kids catalog. So we're still trying to see if it will work with a consortium, not just a standalone library. So a little more information here that you can read. Talking about the responsive design on the telephone and that type of stuff. So. Anybody got anything else they want to talk about or bring up while we're waiting? A lot this time, so the meeting was really short. Roxy, is Linda going?
Oh, is that for you?
Yeah.
She is officially retired now.
When is your library going to open back up, Roxy?
Well, we thought May 16th, but we're kind of, rethinking, wondering. Right now, not a single book is in the library that they brought back on the semi, so we're getting a little nervous.
So is all the staff putting it back, or do you have volunteers that are helping you?
I think the moving company is supposed to do quite a bit of it, but we wanted to get in and shelf read and make sure they were in the right order, but we'll see.
I have the answer to your question. So, the Blue Cloud accounts tie to a specific individual's workflows user account. So, like for instance, my admin account has a username of let's say Kendall. But the Blue Cloud Analytics account that it's tied to is my work email address. My Workflows account has a different email address than my Blue Cloud account has. So you can have your cataloger login account with your not very complex password tied to an email address, and you use the email address to log into the Blue Cloud Search, Blue Cloud cataloging, Blue Cloud, whatever you have access to in there, with a different password, which would be far more complex.
Okay, so you do have to have a different password than you do.
Yeah, and that's why we can't, like the CERC account, the generic, P0 Main Street CERC account can't be tied into Blue Cloud because that's a generic account, but it has to tie to a specific email address. So the other nice thing is when somebody goes away or they leave the library and you send me an email and say, hey, this person left the library, take their name off the listserv and delete any of their individual accounts, we can go in and see, okay, they're out of the listserv. Okay, here's their user account, I'll delete that. Here's their Blue Cloud account, I'll delete that. And we can get rid of one of
Man, any other questions about it?
I'm sure I have to set it up. My handy dandy annoying password generator and generate you an annoying password.
So what Kendall said is, you will have to have a new password attached to an email account to actually use the Blue Cloud product. So
Is that the same as the stuff, if you've already got that obnoxious password and stuff in place for the analytics part?
Nope.
separate account. It's separate account from analytics. But it'll be the same kind of annoying password.
The same obnoxious password, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, same type of obnoxious.
Not obnoxious passwords.
So eventually though, when there'll be the different separate modules of cataloging and circulation,
The same login.
that will be you will be able to tie those together to a person.
Yeah, anything that's actually in Blue Cloud Central,
some
you
reason
just jump
analytics
between
can't.
modules, just like you would do in Word.
Like if we delete the user account, what does that say with the Blue Cloud account?
I've not actually tried that, but it does read back for some properties to workflows. Some things are set in workflows, some things are set.
What did Nick say? If you got rid of the workflows account?
Workflows ID, does it break the Blue Cloud?
Yeah, Nick said if you get rid of the workflows ID, does it break the Blue Cloud? And Kendall's not quite sure. We haven't quite to that point yet. So,
I'll find out pretty quick though when I start setting up the volunteers.
once again, I told him anybody that wanted to volunteer to let you know. So, I mean, with festivals and everything else coming up, you know, it's getting that time of the year where they might want to go take their laptop somewhere and sit in a tent and register people. So.
The thing is, if you're volunteering, be prepared to see annoying things that you don't normally see, because not everything, like your list of user profiles, for example, on workflows may only be 6 or 7 or 8 things. It'll be 400-ish things. Because that's one of the things that's supposed to be
because the
fixed
property.
quickly.
Yeah, the
It's
property.
not pulling that customized list yet.
Yeah. Guess it's not pulling the customized list, so that if you do take this somewhere like to a festival or something, you will see the whole.
But if you type adult
user
or
profile.
ADU, it immediately limits
It
down.
won't be, you know, just your limited, drop down on user profile, so. Anybody else have any questions? Any questions for Kendall before he goes back into his little dark room and?
I have the light on.
You have a light on? I thought maybe you were in there in the dark.
No, because then I have bright computer screens in my eyes.
Oh.
So no.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
Okay, well, looks like our next committee meeting is September 13th. We are now adjourned.
Use that one.
This year and their code.
I'm gone.